So this is really one of the very few pieces of snow left in the whole of the UK. Scotland only has a couple of patches left, and this is one of them. And really this is the closest thing that Scotland has to a glacier. The Sphinx itself is actually quite a bit smaller than it was even when I visited at the weekend. It's lost about a third of its size. It now measures 5 metres by 5 metres by about a metre of depth, and it's far smaller for the time of year than I would expect it to see, and that's been the pattern for the last few years. In days gone by, you could have expected this to be 30, 40, even 50 metres long at this time of the year. So it's really suffering, and I don't think it's got much more than 2-3 weeks left in it. If it stays cold, then it might last to the end of the month, but realistically it's going to melt, and it will melt for the 4th consecutive year, which in the historical record is absolutely unprecedented. We now could be in a situation where the survival of the Sphinx snowpatch is the exception, and it used to be the other way around. So really it's a vestige of the Ice Age, and it's something that's been monitored closely for the last few hundred years. When it melted first of all in 1933, the Scottish Mountaineering Club wrote to the Times because it was such an unusual event, and they didn't ever expect to see it melt again. It did melt again in 1959, and then again in 96, 2003, 2006, 2017, 18, etc, etc. So from something that was deemed permanent, it's now going to be the exception that it survives, and that's an incredible turn of events. This patch of snow only melted 3 times in the 20th century, remarkably, but what we're going to see this year, 2024, is going to melt for the 4th consecutive year, and that for me is a real indicator of what the wider climate is doing. Things are changing. And this location is called Garachor Moor, which is a Gaelic phrase for the big rough corrie. And it's pretty big and it's pretty rough, but it is the most isolated corrie in the whole of the Cairngorms. And at this location, at this altitude, at this time of the year, there should be far more snow than there is.